A very warm welcome to my community. I'm Sherwood McCaskey. As always, I'm pleased that you have joined us. Just recently, Major Walcott introduced us to his beloved Westbury community. After his presentation, we received several calls asking for him to return with a part 2. Well, when we asked him, Major Walcott did not hesitate. Take it over, Major.
You cannot talk about Westbury Road and say, I'm going to talk about point A, point B, point C. And for all of us, it was excitement. And we were very proud to be from this area. Another big exciting thing was Guy Fawkes Day. The man I told you about that used to go from the Pentecostal church and preach, he was a man called Mr. Ross. He used to make bombs for the thing, but he was a good Christian man. And he got scared from making the bombs one time. But when I was counting out the people who were from the different churches in the open air meetings, he was the preacher and he was Pentecostal. So I see we had a healthy respect as youngsters. We didn't know what it was, but as I'm older now, we had a healthy respect for each other's church. So as a little boys too, some of us went to 3 different Sunday schools, and I'll tell you about that. A group of us used to go to Church of God, Chapman Street. And that same group for half the year will go to Brother Tate's church, Sam Tate's father's church. Sam Tate's church was the Evangelical Church of God on Westbury Road. If you go up, you will see it. We all went there. And then we all went to James Street sometimes. The big thing was that if you go to Sunday school for a certain number of Sundays, they didn't tell us how many, you are entitled to go to the Christmas treat. So we end up going to 4 Christmas treats a year. And as children, as we got older, we would go to one Sunday school and we would go to watch a cricket match at Spartan or Empire during the Sunday afternoon, and the nearest church you were at, you would go to that church on Sunday night. But we always went to church on Sunday nights. The Cecil Leach was another one who was part of that group. As we got to our 13 and 14 years, we went to a youth group at the Salvation Army, a few of us, and they had a scout troop. There was a man who was a soldier in the defense, it was a defense force. It was a Barbados regiment. And he was scout master. And he got all of us to become scouts at that time, you know. But
Remember his name?
yes, Angus Griffith. His brother was the great Michael Griffith, who used to do rolling of the belly and dancing on bottles and all of that, and blowing eating the fire. These 2 guys were brothers, and but Angus was a member of the Salvation Army, and he had a youth group at the church, and so a group of us went and joined the youth group, and they were very good to us. At Wesley Hall too, we used to have a Christmas play every year, and the parents will come to it. A part of that group was Curtis Rowe and Neville Rowe. Neville Rowe? Julian, yeah man. And Jeffrey Denny from the New Orleans as well. All those guys. And then we would have competitions between a test match, we call it, New Orleans against. But when we having the test match now, it is the summer, so we have Westbury pasture. And we would play. The other day, a youngster told me at 9 years old, I feel stressed out. I didn't even know the meaning of that word. You know, and when we were 9, 10, 11, 12, we play all day. Yeah. And in those days too, you used to get molasses, and you will mix your own drink, and you go and buy some biscuits. Tell your mother you're not hungry. But today, oh my gosh.
A discussion about childhood days in Barbados often includes a list of activities enjoyed at the beach. Where did the children of Westbury community enjoy beach activities?
Don't Brandon. The best beach in Barbados, man. Even when I came home on holidays, I would meet the other people. We used to go to the beach every morning early. Every morning early. When they were building the Deepwater Harbor, And you see the Costain trucks come down with the big boulders from wherever they came from. And then after the harbor was finished, the sugar trucks, there were some special sugar trucks. And that used to be excitement. And you could always ask somebody who is on bringing out the sugar to bring some cane for you, and sometimes the boys will run and pull the cane off the truck. But we try as much as possible. And you had in those days, you couldn't walk Fontebelle as you like. I like to tell you that from Westbury Road, we never walked through Belleville. Strathclyde, because people set the dogs on you. And Fontebelle was mostly Indians. But one of the wonderful things about it is that although we are talking now about interreligious faith and all of that, Muslims went to school at Wesley Hall with us. Indians who were Muslims, we didn't have very many black Muslims in those days, but it's not a black Muslim thing, it's a Muslim thing. And we were all friends. We understood each other. So there was no disrespect. So when I hear them talking now about we need to come together and all that, we were always together. And it was when I was going to Wesley Hall, which I'll tell you about another time, the Indians and the others played together. We played together on the same cricket team. When we walked home together, Mr. Beckles, I think his father was Hilton Gill's father, had a farm. I don't know how big the farm was, but when he's going out on his horse and cart, he will say, you're going to Wesley Hall, right? And we all jump on the donkey cart or the horse cart and get to school, Indians and Negroes. So we have never had a problem in Barbados about distinction and all of that and all of that. And all of that. We all got along well together. And a lot of Indians lived on Pickwick Yacht. And we could walk on the road and go into their houses. In fact, one of the prominent doctors of Pickwick Yacht was Dr. Patel. His younger brother went to Wesley Hall with us. He went to Presentation College. And now his niece, Dr. Shakila, that building now where her office is used to be Mr. Fields' shop. And that was one shop at the corner, and the other one was Miss Worrett and then Miss Gittins. In those days, when you go to the shop and buy something, your parents, after buying, can credit. And these people were so good, both these two shops in particular, that once Christmas came around and you went in the shop, unknown to you, they will give you a 10-pound bag of rice and a bottle of wine, or a 10-pound bag of rice and a bottle of oil as a Christmas gift. And we were excited about that, because you know that both shops is going to give all their customers something for Christmas. You can't do that now. People don't do those things again. The only person I see doing that is the guy who runs the pharmacy, because he's from this area too, at Carrington Village. That's Walter Ali. You know Walter? Walter is my brother, man, my friend and brother, in that we went to Wesley Hall together.
He has a son who's a doctor.
Yes, his son is a doctor now. But Walter has not changed. He's still the genuine, gracious man as he was as a little boy. And he's well respected. But all of that is whole part of the Westbury culture. Another thing at Westbury Road that you will hear about Miss Belfield turnovers. You can get turnovers for 1 cent. You can get, and so everybody went there. Her grandson, Rudolph Barrow, as he got older, he worked with Holder Brothers. I remember the days when you could go and pawn something at Holder Brothers and get the money for it and get it back. But everybody in Westbury Road knew about Miss Claudie Foster. She used to sell black pudding and sauce at the corner of Pickwick Yacht. And every Saturday was sauce day. And you could get any amount you want. She would even sell you a penny in sauce, because all the boys will look forward to that. But, and so those were the big things. The rum shop singing, and the old men respected you. You couldn't go in the bar and buy anything. They'll chase you. I can't help tell you this. I went to a primary school recently, because I go to primary schools and talk to the children. I go to Westbury School. I haven't been there since COVID and all that. But I was at this school one day before COVID, a certain primary school, and I was talking to the children, and when I was about to start, I wanted to break the ice. And I started with the children to play, Who Stole the Cookie from the Cookie Jar? They never heard it yet. I said, do you know mosquito 1, mosquito 2, mosquito jumping in the old man's shoe? Children never heard it yet, because what has happened to us, those little things that help to keep us together, and I call it part of our culture. We have lost that. Scooters and making our own trucks, that was part of it. Playing cricket, everybody played cricket at the beach. And you got a chance to spend time talking together. Every night, when we didn't play games with our parents and the other big people, we played dominoes at Mr. Seeley's house. He was at the corner. I'll show you where that is. Grantley Seeley was one of the boys in it. All of us went to school at Westbury together, and we would play till 12 o'clock at night, then go home and get to school early the next morning.
Looking back on his childhood days at Westbury community, Major Walcott has some advice.
I appreciate all that has happened with the new technology and all of that, but families need to spend time together and talk together. When my family comes to visit me and I watch it, I turn off the TV, you know. They must have my undivided attention. And until we can organize those sort of things, in those days when Carnival was held at the thing, everybody was a part of it, but you didn't walk up, you chip. You remember those days, you chip? You chip. And I am not going to comment on those things today. And there's another time for that. You chip, and I remember one night my mother told me, if you go and watch the bands, you ain't getting in here tonight. And I never, in those days, you didn't have locks for the door, you had latches. And my mother said, oh, waiting for me to knock. I don't know what happened, but by the time I knocked, the latch opened, and I was about 12 or 13 then, you know. You couldn't go in late. And I think the mistake that we have made as a people is that we start giving our children choices too early. Like the other day in St. Philip, where I am now, I went to invite some children to Sunday school. This is about 4 years ago. And the parent said to the child, who was about 8 years old, you want to go to Sunday school? Are you going with the major? She said, no, I don't want to go today. Now, if you start at that age, you can't tell them to go at 15. And you know what, with us, even in that gap, big gap, when you press close on weekends, you have to press the church close first. Because you had no choice. At 7 and 8 years old, you can't say not going to Sunday school.
Let us take a look at a number of the exemplary individuals, the products of this community, those who made their names in sporting activities.
But the big thing about Westbury Road and in New Orleans is that we produce some of the real prominent Barbadians. We produce Darcy Beckles, Leroy Callender. They used to train Leroy Callender, Darcy Beckles to train at the Yarrick's Gymnasium. You know what the Yarrick's Gymnasium was? Right there. See that pink house is? That house was owned by Sidney Walcott, who was the man in charge of the cemetery. I think they would call him the director or whatever they call it, but he was also my great uncle. But Sidney Walcott had the Yarrick's Gymnasium, and all the bodybuilders came from there. So Darcy Beckles started there. And then there was a pose off between Darcy Beckles some years ago and Leroy Callender. He's from the Redmond Gap, right in Westbury Road. You also had Mango Phillips. They was all part of the Westbury, because they're from Thomas Gap. You also had a young fellow, you may not remember this name, but when in the 60s and early 60s, you had a young fellow called Ken Jemmett, beautiful singer. He was in the area of Richard Stout and the Opels and that group. The Opels started their practice in New Orleans. Midge Springer is from Westbury Road. Midge was a beautiful singer. Hubert Grant is from this area as well. So the majority of the Opels from around this area. We had, I remember when Shamrock opened the supermarket at Baxter's Road first. And everybody from Westbury Road went there. And one of the men that worked there was Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis sang, "My mama don't want a piece of coconut oil, oil, oil." Remember that song? Yeah, man. And Lord Radio, and the Bimsha Boys. We used to hear them regularly. And when Youth Town was Youth Town, almost every month you had a concert. Youth Town. When Youth Town was on through the street. Yeah, what was Youth Town? The little group that met out of Loma Allen thing. Remember I told you about Loma Allen? Youth Town was a place where all the boys went. We played dominoes, we played Monopoly, we played cards, we played table tennis. Every game. And you could go there all day. So there was somewhere for the boys to go. And every now and again, they'll have a concert where you pay 25 cents to go. And that is where you heard men like Midge Springer, you heard Richard Stout, you heard Ken Jemmett. There were one or two others, I don't remember the names now. But one of the best MCs you would have seen was a fella called the Mighty Dragon. Mighty Dragon, and then there's a man who had 1 foot who used to do a special dance without his crutches. I don't remember his name though, but he was from up Nelson Street area, right? But all of those things were fascinating for us as youngsters. And there was always something to do. We didn't have TV, we didn't have much of everything else, but we were all, I keep saying it, we didn't know we were poor. We were all happy and contented. That's the word I should use, contented.
It is often one of the recurring themes and refrain in this program, contentment and happiness. Westbury has always been known for its fine hospitality, that is, its willingness to welcome our Caribbean neighbors.
We were a closer Caribbean when we had the federal boats. A lot of us had St. Lucians living in Westbury Road. And when you travel on the federal boat from here to Jamaica, people would carry their stock with them, their fowls and their goats and things. And it was fun. And so, we learned in those days to respect different nationalities as well. A lot of people came up from St. Lucia and Trinidad were living in Westbury Road as well. And nobody never criticized them. We were glad to have them. And we were fascinated by the new accents, you know. Yes. There's a lot more we can talk about Barbados, about Westbury Road. Another thing, all of us pitch marbles. And we pitch marbles for marbles. In those days, most of your things that you use in the house were enamel. So when your parents have a nice china plate, you break it up and make cup plate. Don't play for that. Once it break it is no longer good. So we also played a lot of road tennis. Now imagine our roads were not paved, but we used a nail or something like that and draw a court. And you had professional, I call it professional matches because we had competitions and you get prizes in those things that you played. We played a lot of football at that time too. And we had in those days, everybody believed in Pele, you know. So every man who could play good was called Pele, you know. And those were the things that we enjoyed.
In the first episode, Major Walcott introduced us to the good work of the parish council. He now remembers greater good.
Oh, we also got tickets from the parish council for bus fare. There's some tickets, and those who were poor, they give us a ticket every week, and you can get it punched on the bus. I think that is fair to say that. That's how we met Charlie Griffith in person as well. He used to be one of the inspector, and he worked especially in the Bushall area, right? So we saw him. he was always smartly dressed, man. You know, and in those days, everybody wanted to wear the part in the middle, like Charlie Griffith, or on the side, like Everton Weeks. And one of the things about it is that every boy in Westbury Road used to wear his collar up like Sir Garfield Sobers. We were privileged to watch, a group of us together, to watch the cricket match when Barbados played against England MCCT, when Sobers made 100 and something and Nurse made 200. I saw that match. All of us went to cricket. Either these are the police horses to block the gate, remember? And a group of us will go and get the policeman's attention and the horse chasing us. Everybody going over the wall. This is a story too, when we didn't get to go in. And I remember the place tar across the wall of the Kensington Oval from this side. You had to place it with tar so nobody can climb over. And boys went to the supermarkets and got some cardboard boxes and put them on the tar and sit on them and watch. Yeah, man, that was fun. One of the prominent policemen that we had to contend with, a man called Firebrace. You heard that name? He's a motorcycle cop. Yeah, man. He said, take away your scooters.
What about the community's involvement in the island's major social event at that time?
Everybody on Westbury Road had the brand new clothes for the exhibition, and you come home and put them up till Christmas morning. And in those days, you heard about can, this stiff thing under the skirt, and the girls' skirts all out there, man. That was a big thing, and everybody looked forward to that. We live in Westbury Road. You don't take taxi. You can't afford taxi, but everybody have to see you, you know. And you wear your best clothes to the exhibition. You come back home, you make sure that they're clean, and you put them up till Christmas morning when you go to church. That was a big thing too. All of us went to church on Christmas morning. And as we got older, it became a bigger thing, you know. But I'll never forget the first Christmas morning that I went to church as a saved Salvationist. I had on my white suit. And the boys follow me all to church. Which team you playing for? Because in those days the Salvation Army uniform was white suit. But we will talk about that today. But I remember the exhibition. And another big thing too was races at the garrison. I never go to races, but the boys will come back and tell me. And my favorite horse was Mentone, ridden by Charlie Jones. For years, everybody loved Charlie Jones. And I remember the horse Mentone winning a number of races. That's the only horse I can remember, really, in those days. But my mother was interested in us going, but the boys will come back and tell me about Charlie Jones. And I think he became a trainee eventually, right? And he was well respected and loved. Yeah. And he was loved in Westbury Road. He was loved in Westbury Road.
The life and energy of Westbury community, all of which Major Walcott has been ear witness and eyewitness to. Thank you very much, Major, for sharing with us. I'm Sherwood McCaskey. The program continues next week at the same time.